Well, welcome to this month's episode of Local Business. Today we're going to be in Castle Shannon Borough, where we're going to find out about their past, their present, and their future. And I think you're in for a great show today. Today we're at the Castle Shannon Borough, and we're going to divide our show into three parts. Our first part is with Chief Truver. He's the Chief of Police in Castle Shannon, and we just want to find out a little bit about the force that he has, how many people, different divisions or whatever. So Chief, just tell us a little bit about the Castle Shannon Police Department.
Happy to do that, Mayor. So we're a small agency, but we do a lot. We have 14 officers, 14 sworn, 2 civilians. So let's talk about the mission of our small agency is to provide law enforcement services to the community and affirmatively promote, preserve, and provide as much as possible and practical, and given the existing resources, a feeling of security and safety among all persons within our agency's jurisdictions.
Mm-hmm.
So what that means is essentially we want the community to feel safe, our business owners and our residents. But for a small agency, we do a lot. One of the major portions of that safety is traffic control. We have 5 state highways that run through Castle Shannon. Route 88 being the largest one, there's a lot of traffic there, so a lot of our contact with our citizens is traffic related. Mm-hmm. We have a motor carrier safety, basically a truck inspection. We are part of several task forces having to do with safety, seatbelt safety task force, DUI task force with the Mount Lebanon area group. We have a drug recognition expert. For a small agency, that's quite a feat. That's a lot of training goes into that. We do a lot of training in our agency. We have seatbelt safety inspectors. In addition to the things we do traffic related, we were recognized 10 years straight now by AAA with their Community Safety Traffic Award. We have a school guard program. We do a lot of traffic engineering, some education, and of course the enforcement component is the part that gets compliance.
Okay.
The other things we do is we have a DARE program. We have 2 elementary schools here in Castle Shannon. St. Anne's Catholic School and the part of Keystone Oaks is Myrtle Elementary. So we have 2 DARE officers. We're part of the South Oaks Area Council of Governments tactical team. We have a tactical operator and 2 negotiators on that team. We have K-9 officer, a defensive tactics instructor, municipal police instructors who teach at the police academy. We have most of our officers trained in crisis intervention techniques, dealing with the public. So you can see that for a small agency, we're very busy.
Quite a resume on the small agency. Now, so Castle Shannon obviously borders Bethel Park. What are the other boroughs that you the border?
So if we go around counterclockwise, Bethel, then Whitehall, then we border with the city of Pittsburgh, and then we come back around and hit Baldwin Township, and then Mount Lebanon.
Okay.
So.
And how big is Castle Shannon as far as the area that you do patrol?
1.5 square miles.
1.5 square miles?
1.5 square. Okay. I tell people we're a mile long on Route 88 and a quarter mile on either side of the valley. So.
Yeah, well, that kind of gives you a picture of what it is, right?
Right.
And are you involved with the local businesses, or do you do anything for them as far as just stopping in, telling them different techniques to help them?
So we have a squad, community outreach squad. We get, Lieutenant David Lane is responsible for making those contacts with the business owners and getting their contact information, emergency after hours, phone numbers and whatnot. We'll offer crime prevention techniques. A lot of the stores now offer video surveillance, and we promote that. Just talk about video surveillance a little bit. We're part of the Allegheny County District Attorney's surveillance. He's got this ring around Allegheny County. and we have three major intersections. We're putting on a fourth this year that will not only have overviews of the intersection with surveillance cameras, but also license plate readers. Carry that a step further, our patrol cars are outfitted with license plate readers. The benefit of that is that while the officer is patrolling and looking for criminal activity, those license plate readers are capturing plates and running them against databases for suspended, expired, wanted persons. So we have a lot of technology in our cars.
Right. And how long have you been the police chief here?
I retired from Mount Lebanon after 22 years in 2009, and this is my 10th year in Castle Shannon.
Okay. So you just can't get away from that border. So from Mount Lebanon to Castle Shannon.
I've lived in the South Hills my whole life. I like it here.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you being here today.
Okay, Mr. Mayor.
Telling us a little bit about what you do with the protection that you offer in Castle Shannon. So thank you very much, Chief.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, next I'm with Mayor Don Baumgarten. I've known Don for a long time, and welcome to our show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So what I wanted to talk about today a little bit about, if you can give us the history, population, whatever, on Castle Shannon, where you were like 15, 20 years ago, where you're at today, what changes have you made, and what are your plans for the future?
Okay, well, this is our 100th year anniversary. We incorporated back in 1919, but we were a village before that for many years. So over the last 100 years, we've done a lot. Our population at one time exceeded 13,000. But then when families became smaller and people moved away, and a lot of people that worked in, we had a lot of people that worked in the steel industry, in the mills that lived here. And after the mills shut down, a lot of those people left for other places. So our population decreased to, we're down to a little over 9,000 right now. But 15, 20 years ago, we were pretty stagnant. We weren't really doing too much. We started to, with the T coming through here, which has been here for quite a while now, people started to realize that maybe we could start to develop some properties that were near the T, because people now want to ride the T to work and they don't need cars anymore because the parking was so expensive downtown in the city. So what's happened then, we had some people interested in the Shannon Transit Village, which was a main T stop in Castle Shannon, and we had a number of developers looking at that, and so far we haven't been able to get anybody that really will do anything, and the primary reason is parking, the parking issue. Port Authority insisted having the same number of parking places that they have today. And they want to keep them even though there's a development there, which makes it pretty hard for people to do, because you'd have to build a garage and that's too expensive. And so that's kind of been a hindrance to it. But in the interim though, we had a development where the old St. Anne's Church used to be on Willow Avenue. That was torn down years ago and it was just a vacant lot till a gentleman by the name of Phillips bought that property. And he's put 24 apartment units in there. Vast improvement in that area. Another gentleman at the end of May Street, we had a vacant piece of property for years. Somebody tried to develop it years ago, but they couldn't make it work. But another gentleman came in and he's put 23 townhouses in there, and they're all up in the upper $300,000. So that really was a boost to the tax base there. We have a major development on Hamilton Road right now, which is a 176 unit apartment complex composed of 3 buildings. One is up, they're finishing it, and they hope to start renting it out sometime this summer. The second building, they're getting ready to do the footer. They expect to have that building up sometime later this year, and then the third building will be started sometime again this year, but probably not completed till next year.
No, where exactly is that development at?
That's on Hamilton Road. As you turn off of Route 88, I don't know how to, where the volunteer fire department building is, that's
Okay.
on Route 88. Well, right,
Oh, okay.
right beyond that is Hamilton Road. If you go up Hamilton Road, it'd be
on
on
the
the
right-hand
right-hand side. Right. Now there's a piece of property right across the street, a 5-acre piece of property that we have some interest in somebody developing that, which would be great because it would complement the one across the street. Also, the St. Anne's is in the process of moving their school over to St. Winifred because they are merging with St. Winifred, which is in Mount Lebanon. So they're going to merge the two parishes. So they would obviously the St. Anne's Church would stay where it is up on top of the hill, but they want to move the school over to the school building at St. Winifred. By doing that, then they're going to proposing anyhow to market where the school sits right now on Willow Avenue. That's a roughly 2-acre piece of property, and we already have developers that are eyeing that up as a prime location because it's right on the T line.
Oh, absolutely.
And then right up the street from that on Rockwood Avenue is another 5-acre piece of property that's just been sitting vacant for years. We're hoping to be able to have somebody come in and develop that because again, it's only a block from the T. So you have those two pieces of property, and I was thinking that there's others that are smaller, but those are the major areas that we could see development, which we obviously need because, as the chief mentioned, we're only 1.5 miles square, so we
Right.
don't have a lot of properties to develop. So by doing that, we're certainly going to increase our tax base, going to increase our population, that we'll be able to have more people to patronize the businesses that we have. That should improve the business area as well. We have some new people moving into the community business-wise, and so I won't step on Bettina's toes, but
Well, it's probably similar to Bethel Park when you think you're totally grown and then someone comes in and says, we're going to develop a parcel somewhere.
yeah.
Because I'm involved in the American Legion, and now we're looking to put 17 homes right around the American Legion, which
Yes.
it was like we never would have thought of that.
Right, right.
So when you have so much land, and that's all you have, it's amazing where people can start building things.
Well, our real hope, though, we have for years, it's been 20 years, believe it or not, since the first proposal for the Transit Village. That's like a 7-acre piece of property that we hoped that would be developed, and we came close so many times, but that would be amazing. That's a $40 million development.
Right.
And that would be a tremendous boost, and that was supposed to, and it still is, partly anyhow, in our revitalization project, which I'm sure Bettina can talk about. So that's where we're at as far as development and future development and past development. And again, we're going to celebrate our 100th year this year. A series of events throughout.
I was going to ask you about that because 100 years is certainly a milestone. What do you have planned?
Well, we have our community day, of course, is always in May, the day before Memorial Day, which is always on a Sunday. So that's going to be a big event. That's our annual biggest event. But all through the summer, we're going to have what we call our First Fridays, at least 3 through the summer, where we have different venues, and we usually have bands come in and vendors come in, and each one will have a theme this year. And we've been doing this for several years now, but there'll be a theme, and we just recently, last Sunday, or Saturday rather, we had our annual Easter egg hunt. And that drew fortunately it was a beautiful day, not like Sunday.
Well, unfortunately, ours was on Sunday, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah,
but,
well, we had a great turnout,
did.
and it worked very well weather-wise. So, but there'll be a number of events throughout the year to celebrate that. But on that Community Day, we've invited a number of people to come that will give us some type of presentation. We have the county executive, we have our senator, state senator coming, and congressman, our local congressman will be there. And
Now, if someone wanted to find out more about this, would the events be on your website?
be on our website. Would be on our
Okay. So
Castle
we'll talk
Shannon
about
website.
that.
It's all on there.
Okay.
So
I mean, that's something to be proud of, 100 years.
yeah, I haven't been here the whole 100 years. Maybe Mike Jeberenchik will.
He'll be the guest speaker.
Yeah, right. Well, he was 96 and still going, so he was 4 years before he was born. But no, it's quite a. In our town, we were primarily way back when we were a coal town. We had all the coal mines in the area, as Bethel Park was, and so we had. Actually, well, we had one coal mine, but the other coal mine close to us was up in Molinar, which is just across the border.
Right.
And so we had a lot of mining homes and everything all along Route 88. There were a lot of mining homes. They're all gone, of course. And it's changed. It's changed so much. We're now more of a white-collar town now. So,
Well, one more question I had before we let you go. Donna, how long have you been, let our people know how long you've been mayor down here in Castle Shannon?
well, this is my 19th year as mayor, and I had 25 years as borough council before that. So I've been in local politics this is my 44th year.
Okay, yeah.
So,
And I would have to say that you were mayor of the year about 4 or 5 years ago?
yeah, I was mayor of the year, yeah.
For the whole state of Pennsylvania.
Right, yeah, I was. It was quite an honor. And I recently, from the Boroughs Association, received some award, trustees award or something, for having over 40 years in local government.
Okay, well, we
So-
thank you for your service,
Oh,
and
well.
you do a great job.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
And finally, our last guest for our show today is Bettina Jones, and she's with Castle Shannon Borough, and she's going to tell you a little bit about their revitalization projects that they have here and what exactly she does. So Bettina, welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm the Keystone Community Coordinator at Castle Shannon Borough, and I spend a good deal of my time working with the Castle Shannon Revitalization Corporation, which is a 501c3 associated with the borough. And we do many things, but among them are community and economic development strategies and events. So one of the main things that we're doing right now is we have a facade grant program available to our businesses where we're working with the state of Pennsylvania's Department of Community and Economic Development to match any business's work on the front of their building, facade, awning, painting, and that sort of thing, up to $5,000. So that's one of our flagship programs that we do. We also work on promoting the business district of Castle Shannon, which is divided into several components. We have our traditional Main Street downtown. Then we also have the Lebanon Shops, which is a pretty extensive strip mall. Then we have another strip mall called Stoner Center. And then we have all the shops that are located along Library Road or Route 88. And so we have pretty much everything you could possibly want when it comes to businesses. And many small family-owned, or single-owned businesses. So one of the main things that we try to do as revitalization is to provide a voice for those businesses that might not have the time or the resources to commit to traditional marketing. We try to promote them using our network. We're very active on social media and on traditional media as well. And so we try to promote all of our businesses for no fee or anything, just as a nonprofit activity, because we know that doing so promotes our borough and enables us to attract visitors to the businesses from surrounding districts. And so actually, since we began our work in 2009, Revitalization Corporation, we've managed to get 9 new businesses into our downtown. Before we started our work, 67% of our downtown was blighted or vacant, and now we've managed to create this cluster of antiques, of alternative clothing and jewelry, and of coffee shop and bar culture in the downtown, which has really increased our citizens' desire to participate in life down there, and has also attracted visitors.
Okay. Now, your downtown area is what section that you're referring to?
So this is interesting. Actually, one of our projects is mapping the different areas, because not a lot of people are aware. If you say downtown Castle Shannon, people are like, "Where's that?" What we've defined it as is from Martin Auto Gallery on Library Road, down through Ice Castle on Castle Shannon Boulevard, and then including all the shops along Willow Ave on both sides of Castle Shannon Boulevard.
Okay.
And there are a couple of other businesses on the surrounding streets like Myrtle Ave, Poplar Ave, and those places. So that's what we have decided to call our downtown.
Okay.
So we're working on mapping those districts. So we've managed to create a downtown map of all the community buildings and businesses that are located in our downtown. And we're also working on providing a map and a directory of all the businesses that are located within Castle Shannon, of which this is a crazy statistic, but there are over 400 businesses.
400 businesses
Yes.
in your 1.5 square miles.
Yes, there are quite a few. And a lot of that is thanks to the convenience of the strip mall concept, where you can have many businesses in a close proximity to one another, and you also have abundant parking there. So we one of the reasons why we wanted to map the business districts and to try to separate business districts is so citizens that live here who want to shop local can be aware of the businesses that are located within our district, so they can support those businesses.
Okay.
And so that's one of our campaigns as the Revitalization Corporation, is Shop Local, Shop Shannon.
Right.
To encourage people, if they can, to, if they have a need of something, to not go outside if it's possible, and rather.
Right. And we do, we promote that at the chamber.
Sure.
I mean, shop local, so
Yeah.
that's a perfect fit.
It serves us all. It increases the tax base. It makes life more interesting to know what's going on within your own community. And also, a lot of people are not aware of what all is available within their community.
Right.
And so that's one of our goals, is to make people actually aware of what all they can find from our over 400 businesses.
Now, the 400 businesses, do they all qualify for the grant program, or is it just certain areas for the facade?
Yes, so some of the buildings, you have to work with the property owner of the building, and so some of the businesses are just renting.
Right.
And so those may
Right.
not be, that's where it becomes a little more complicated. But what a lot of our businesses have decided to do is to split the cost of whatever revamp there is with the property owner, which helps them to be able to afford it more, and it serves both of the interests of both parties. So.
And you work exclusively with Castle Shannon, or is that just one of your clients? Or?
No, I work exclusively with Castle Shannon.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, it sounds like a great program.
Yes. Yes. We like to think so.
Especially for small businesses.
Yeah. And so I'd like to talk a little bit about the events piece, because we do, business promotion is a large part of what we do, but it's not the only thing. We do, we focus on the design of the downtown, in the form of our facade grant program. And we also, spearhead many of the community events. And so Community Day is one of those that we're working with the borough on that, so that's Sunday, May 26th. And then we also do, that's a large event, and we also do a series of smaller events. The mayor mentioned we do Friday events in the summers. And we also do stream cleanups of Sawmill Run. as a community, we get together twice a year, once in the spring and once in the fall, and we do that together. We also host an annual fall festival. We're looking at some other events that we haven't done so far this year to complete those in the summer months. This is our event season coming up, and so it would be good to look at our website for the specific dates on those
Yeah,
if people are
absolutely.
interested. And you can find that information on castleshannon.org. That's the revitalization's website. It's not the borough website, but it connects. So if
Okay.
you can also find it on the borough website. There's a direct link to our website on there.
And I'm sure celebrating your 100th anniversary, you're going to have some different events pretty much all through the year.
Yes, there's one particular event that I'd like to highlight, which is something we've never done before. The borough is going to be having a scavenger hunt, like a historic scavenger hunt, all throughout the summer. So how that works is there will be a QR code at historic sites throughout Castle Shannon where people can, take a picture of the image, and then they can, find historical information and complete a sheet, which they can turn in for a prize.
Okay.
And the cool thing about that is it can be done at any time throughout the summer. The QR code will be available in the window of or near the whatever historic building is in question. And so that is a cool way of celebrating our past and
And that's open
educating
for
people.
all citizens?
That's open for anyone who wants to do it.
Okay.
It has it's attached to a website with like a historic picture of the historic building in question and a little blurb about the history of it.
But how
So-
many historic sites do you have? Did you have any idea?
Well, in the scavenger hunt, we have about 20.
Okay.
In terms of other historic sites, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
But we have 20, key historic sites, I would say, that are all featured in that scavenger hunt. So it
Okay.
should be a really good time, and we've never done something like that before, and
Yeah.
I think it should be neat.
Okay, great. Anything else you wanted to mention that we may have missed?
I think just one thing, that we're always looking for volunteers. We're a volunteer-driven organization. The board is made up entirely of volunteers. All the committees are made up of volunteers. So we always need help with our activities. So if anyone is interested
Sure.
in joining us, they can find information on Castle Shannon Revitalization Corporation Facebook page or castleshannon.org.
Okay. And, I did catch that you do have 400 businesses here. And our chamber reaches Bethel Park, South Park, and Castle Shannon. So somehow we're going to have to reach out to those businesses so we can advertise them on our chamber website as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
So,
I think we have a lot of shared activities. So, I'm looking forward to continuing the relationship.
okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so
It's
much.
a pleasure.
For me as well, thank you.
Well, I hope you enjoyed our show this month. We learned a lot of information from the chief, the mayor, and Bettina about what's going on here. We appreciate you watching, and hopefully you'll patronize the businesses here in Castle Shannon.